Okay, welcome back to Poppa Scott Productions and another episode of Poppa Talks. Today we have Beau Crockett. How you doing, Beau?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, the reason I do this, I just try to get guys out there. This is just all for you guys, just to promote. Hopefully one day this is where promoters will come to look for you guys. So.
Yeah, definitely appreciate it. That's
yeah,
for sure.
a lot of guys. I have a lot of subscribers all over the world, really, and they seem to really be into this independent wrestling. So I just want to get you guys out there.
Yeah. Independent wrestling is definitely blown up over the last few years. There's got to be alternatives to things that you see on TV that you don't like. So come on out on the weekend and check us out.
Absolutely. So let's just get started. Why don't you tell us where you're from?
I am from Virginia. I am actually from a small town in Virginia originally called Pocosin, but I live in Newport News now. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's where you're at now?
Yeah. I live in Newport News. It's about 2.5 hours from here. So.
Cool. So where did you get your interest in wrestling from? What age?
Oh, man, I can't even remember the age, but just basically as long as I can remember.
Oh, cool.
Watching guys like Sting and Shawn Michaels and stuff like that on WCW and WWE respectively. Those are like my two top wrestlers of all time.
So you just picked it up watching on TV?
Yeah.
Your family, your dad into it? Or
not really. Like my dad would watch it every now and then, but he was flipping through channels, and I saw it, and I was like, hey, Dad, let's watch this.
Oh, cool. Yeah, because a lot of guys, like uncles got them into it,
right.
Their dads got them into it. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah. So who was your favorite growing up, favorite wrestler?
Oh, definitely like Sting, Shawn Michaels, Macho Man, guys like that I really always thought were endlessly entertaining.
Right.
When I was really young, the Ultimate Warrior.
Oh, he was my favorite.
Yeah, when you're a kid, you love Ultimate Warrior. When you're an adult, you're like, man, at least I like the character.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. So, how did you get your start in wrestling?
My start, I was actually originally trained by a guy named Marty Reed, my best friend. He actually worked with him and said, hey, man, there's this guy. He's an independent wrestler. He trains some people on the side down in Virginia Beach. You should come by and meet him. And I did and talked to him and stuff like that. He's like, man, I think you'd be really good at this. So he got me to come down, got me in the ring, got me training, and kind of the rest is history. After that, guys like Mark Bravura and Bob Evans and stuff like that are really like key to my development beyond that point.
Right.
Those two are like phenomenal mentors, so I wouldn't trade either of them for the world.
Nice.
For sure.
So how many years you been in?
12 now.
12. Wow.
Yeah.
I knew you've been a while.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That's a long time.
Definitely feels like.
Do you remember your first match?
I do. I remember my first match. My very first match was a three-way tag match. Me, this guy named Seamus O'Malley, wrestled in a kilt, and he was about as redneck North Carolina as you could get, but he was Seamus O'Malley, and he was the Irishman. That was his gimmick. Against two of the guys I trained with, Aaron Campbell and Dante Bishop. They were the Army of Two at the time, and my trainer and his tag team partner, Justin Sane. So that was the match. It was what it was.
Yeah. Most people don't like talking about their first match.
Well, I don't mind talking about my first match. I obviously know it was not a great match, especially looking back at it now. But when I got to the back, for the very first time out, I got very positive feedback. They're like, nice. We didn't know it was your first match. Right. I was like, oh, well, that's a good place to start, I guess.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, let's take a break here. I want to take a look, let you show you guys some Beau's work. So tell me about I'm a big guy on seminars and training. So tell me about. I know you have a school, right?
I do. Primetime Wrestling Alliance in
All
Yorktown,
right.
Virginia. We run it out of Body by D Gym in there.
Nice. How many guys you got there?
Ooh,
I know it
man.
varies, but
Yeah, we just signed up like 4 or 5 over the last couple of weeks. So
hey, look over your right shoulder. Hey, Ty was there.
But yeah, we just signed up like 4 or 5 over the last couple of weeks. So I'd say we probably have a dozen or more now. Right now, yeah.
Nice. So tell me about some seminars you've done.
Okay, yeah, definitely several with Bob. Now, if I happen to be at a place where Bob's doing a seminar, I'm no longer a participant in the seminar. I'm part of the seminar staff.
Nice.
So Bob knows that I know what he expects and can get that out of people.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a good stamp of approval for me. But beyond that, Dr. Tom Pritchard, fantastic. It was a 2-day weekend camp. It was super informative. Some of the guys there needed some help on the basics of in-ring stuff. They were a little less experienced, so he was able to break that down. A lot of promo training, stuff like that. It was great. Done one with Jimmy Jacobs. That was more psychology, more character development based. Right. So it was a nice change of pace. Cool. Rather than, hey, get in the ring and let's do a whole bunch of stuff. It was actually like breaking down the psychology of things like that. So
you got to understand it to be able to do it.
Exactly. And for me, some of that stuff gets my creative juices flowing more so than like the nuts and bolts. Yeah, I know how to do a headlock takeover.
Absolutely. So tell me about some promotions that you've worked for. Some bigger promotions, smaller.
Sure.
I know you've worked for
sure.
Shitload, but
well, of course, here at AWA, been here since they first started. Eastern Shore Pro Wrestling out in Chicoteague. I'm their heritage champion right now. I know Ty's the heavyweight champ for now.
Till you get your shot.
That's right. And Next Up Pro Wrestling, they just started. Actually, that's run by guys that I trained. Is
this their first show coming up? Or?
No, it was their second.
Okay.
They just did their first show toward the end of September. I'm currently the heavyweight champ there now. No, I did not leverage the fact that I trained them to get the title.
I'm getting ready to shoot that show. Ty's going to be there, and they asked me to shoot it.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good step in the right direction for them because they didn't have anybody really to film the first one, unfortunately. A lot of photographers there, but nobody to video the thing.
Yeah. Cool.
I've wrestled, it's closed now, but CWF Mid-Atlantic, they used to have a great YouTube show on every week. Catalyst Wrestling in New Jersey, PWX and AML in North Carolina. I've been North Shore Pro Wrestling up in Quebec.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah. So I've been in Canada a couple times.
Well, you've done some extra work for WWE, haven't you?
Not for WWE, just did some for AW Wednesday.
Okay.
I have been at WWE, just creative has nothing for you tonight.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
We just left Philly. That's what we got.
which is absolutely fine.
Yep.
But, you never know what you're going to do until you get there. I did some extra work for Ring of Honor. I was one of Dalton Castle's boys in New Orleans. That was fun.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So, I know you've wrestled everybody. Who would you like to work that you haven't worked?
Oh, man. That's a list too. I actually just talked to him about doing it on Wednesday, but Mike Bennett might be at the top of that list. Mike's a great friend of mine, and it's great to see him catch up on Wednesday. But I definitely want to get a match with Mike. Ty, I'd love to work Ty. Definitely guys like Darius Lockhart, Shane Taylor. Just guys that were unsigned currently, like Darius and Shane Taylor kind of at the top there. I haven't gotten a singles match with Logan Easton LaRoe yet, so I'd definitely like to work Logan. I went from never having had a match with him to now we wrestle all the time, so it's always fun to wrestle Sledge Gibson.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely, of course, there are litany of guys in like WWE and AEW I'd love to have a match with at some point as well. But
Absolutely. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I love how they bring in extra talent.
yeah,
That's so cool.
yeah, I think what they're doing with AEW Dark is like a phenomenal opportunity
Yeah.
for the guys that get on there and get
Yeah,
to
how
have
many
a match.
guys
and
do you
stuff like
see
that.
on there now? That's the cool
Right,
thing.
right. So many people that I've either wrestled or been on shows with, or Jordan Blade's been on recently, and like I remember being at Jordan's first match,
Oh, wow.
like her very first match ever,
That's
and then
cool.
to see her on AW Dark is like, yeah.
Yeah, nice. So, what keeps you motivated, man? You've been 12 years, dude. What keeps you motivated?
I'll tell you what, man. There are times when motivation can be hard to find, especially when you've been doing it for a little while and you're still doing the independence and whatever. But then opportunity comes, and that's super motivating.
Yeah.
Like last year, I got to wrestle Rhett Titus for the first time, and that was super motivating. Like, oh yeah, I gotta bring it.
Yeah.
But the school is always a constant source of motivation for me, honestly. Just the fact that I didn't tell any of them that I was going to be at AEW on Wednesday, but they figured it out because I wasn't there at the school on Wednesday, and a good 75% of them showed up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like they were calling me, texting me. I wasn't answering the phone for anybody, so they all figured it out on their own, and they all showed up anyway, and I heard them.
That's cool.
I mean, all I did was a security run-in segment, and like not trying to put myself over because
hey, that's a big deal, dude.
yeah, it is.
is.
Obviously, I'm trying to recognize that it was a great opportunity, but also, you know,
You want more? Sure.
of course, I want more. I'm super like self-motivated when it comes to wrestling. Like, I grew up idolizing guys like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, guys that are never satisfied.
Right.
That like, yeah, I won a championship, but now I want the next one.
Right. Yeah.
I scored 50 tonight, but now I want to score 60.
Right.
You know, so that's the kind of thing that motivates me. Like, I'm my own worst critic.
Yep.
I always feel like I can do better. I always feel like I can do more. So, like, yeah, I loved the opportunity Wednesday. I had a blast with the opportunity Wednesday, but now I had the opportunity, and now I want more.
Sure.
So things like that, like I won a title, now I want another one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so stuff like that. I'm very competitive in that way, even if it's just against myself.
Yeah. I like to ask everybody, you got any funny like road stories or?
Oh, a ton of them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Most people do.
A ton of them. Man, I mean, the Canada trips were a blast because it was me and Dewan O'Neill. We left from Norfolk at like 5, and then we drive through the night to get to New Jersey to get to Tim Hughes' house. We'd hop in the car with Tim. Tim drove to Massachusetts, pick up Bob. Bob had the rental. We drove all that far without a rental car because Bob had it in Massachusetts. Bob drives to Canada and back, but that whole trip is just one kind of like funny, hilarious thing after the other. Like, I got like 3 hours of sleep in the 19-hour drive there.
I can't sleep in a car.
Yeah, I get there. We have like 3 hours before we got to work, because there was 2 shows. There was an afternoon show and a night show. Of course, we get there and we're on the afternoon show. So I'm sitting in the crowd during the night show, and I am on 3 hours of sleep. I'm sitting in the crowd, like, nodding off. Got through that. We're going to go hang out with everyone after the show at the bar, and it's snowing. It's January. It's Quebec. Of course it's snowing. There was 2 feet of snow on the ground when we got there, but the roads were clear. But it starts snowing again when we leave the bar or something like that, and of course Dewan's had a few beers. Dewan's just walking down the sidewalk, and there's so much snow you can't really tell where the sidewalk ends. He steps right off the sidewalk, and his hands never left his pockets.
Oh my goodness.
He just falls straight back, and and Dewan is wide. He's super wide. He's like 5'6", but he's like 5'6" wide too. And he falls down, and his hands are still in his pockets, and he's just like laying there like this 250-pound turtle. Like, come on, man, get up. His hands are still in his pockets. He's drunk. I'm not even sure he knows he's on the ground.
Right.
Wow. He's just like kind of rolling around.
The visual, I imagine.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Of course, ribbon guys.
Yeah. And that late, you're all ribbing him.
Yeah, of course. That same time, this bar was wild. We had like free run, like Bohemian Rhapsody comes on the jukebox, and like me and like 4 of the Canadian talents, they're standing on the bar. I hop up on the table, and we're just like battling back and forth as we're lip syncing this performance. It was hilarious. It was a blast.
Well, cool. So, how can people get up with you? Instagram, Twitter, Facebook? I know you have Facebook.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. The fan page is The White Wolf Beau Crockett. My actual Facebook page is Beau WP Crockett. The WP just stands for wrestling page, because I have one that's just for friends and family. Don't add me on the one that's just friends and family, please. And, of course, Instagram. I love Instagram. Instagram is BC versus the world. Twitter, I could probably be better about being on Twitter, but it's Beau time on Twitter.
Good deal. So I like to close out my podcast by giving you the opportunity to ask Poppa a question.
All right, Poppa. What keeps Poppa going? What keeps Poppa motivated to come in here and climb on ladders when it's unsafe and set up cameras all over the arenas just to get a good shot for us?
That is all about my son, 100%. I wouldn't do it without him. I'm here just because of him. I follow him, so I do this, so I'm not bored just sitting over in the corner. To be honest,
I hear you.
I'm 8 years in,
okay,
and just been following him, and this just developed. I started shooting around the ring for somebody else, and then started doing my own. And
I mean, you've done a great job with it. So I mean, side hustle's a side hustle, man. Like,
yeah.
I
enjoy it. It's a lot of work. It is a lot of work, because I'm 61, and to shoot a 2.5, 3 hour show can be pretty tough. But
right.
I go home and I'm editing all week. I try to get everything done in that week to come, because I got another show on Saturday.
Right. You end up getting backlogged too much, and you got promoters like, hey, man, where's my footage? Yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, I don't get too much, because I'm usually pretty quick. I'm usually get it out.
You definitely are. There are some folks that will take you a month and a half just to get the photos, let alone
and I can't
like
get back
full match edits.
I can't do that. Then I get stressed out big time.
Right.
I got 30 it's bad enough to say you got 8 or 9 to 10 matches to edit, but
right.
Oh, I couldn't imagine it being 30.
I got
behind.
4 full shows to edit.
That's why people get discouraged.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I definitely get discouraged. It definitely gets hard. I'm a construction worker, so, I'm tired at the end of the week. But I'm thankful that I can do it,
Oh, yeah.
And I do it for you guys, just to get you guys out. My page don't make any money because everybody comes out to copyrighted music.
Yeah.
That's not why I do it.
But yeah, we certainly, I know I appreciate it, because everything I've seen that you filmed looks great coming out the other side. So I certainly appreciate all that you do for us.
I appreciate the compliment. Well, thanks again for coming out, and
thanks for having me.
Look forward to seeing you.
Thank you.